My name is Essence Jones, the creator of Protect Your Crown and Insight into Mental Health, and this is Beyond the Walls. This web series was created to promote mental health. Here you will hear stories of individuals who speak of perseverance and overcoming obstacles in dealing with mental health. This is their story.
Katana the Don, you know what I'm saying? I'm a artist, writer, performer, producer, you know, hopefully one day music mogul. Well, uh, I've been suicidal since I was 12, and depression is, I don't remember when I started with depression, but I also have PTSD. I was molested when I was little by a family friend and my cousin and also my sister. And then the first time I had sex, I was raped when I was 15. So it's a lot of things that trigger me emotionally. But then it's a social anxiety thing. I think all of that kind of plays into just not really knowing how people look at you. I always felt like music was my way of expressing my feelings. You know what I mean? Because I never felt like anybody cared.
Right.
So when I made music, it just seemed like people cared more for some reason. Like if I put it to a melody or whatever, they can understand it or digest it. Even in poetry, you know what I mean? It just seemed like different. I have a song about suicide on my album, you know what I mean? And I was really afraid, actually, to put it on there, you know, because it's like, I mean, people gonna think I'm jumping off a building every time, you know, so,
Right.
or they think I'm sensationalizing suicide or something weird, you know what I mean? But I got the complete opposite reaction from it, you know what I mean? So a lot of people really understood the angle and got what I was saying, and I didn't expect that. You know, I thought it was going to be a lot of ridicule. And,
Right.
you know, I'm bracing myself. But I think that, you know, I learned how to articulate it, like my feelings in my music better than I could just talking to somebody.
Right.
So that's why I just pour it in there. You know, I think for a long time I knew that I just felt weird. You know what I mean? I felt weird around people, or I just always stayed to myself with things. I didn't want to tell people things because I just felt weird. Like I didn't know how to tell people that I didn't want to come somewhere, not because I didn't want to come, but I couldn't. I didn't want to leave the house that day. You know what I mean? And it's a hard thing to make somebody understand. I just came somewhere last week. Like, what's the problem? You know what I mean? But it's something that could trigger me one day that didn't trigger me another day, and I don't even know why or realize it. I might not realize it until next week. You know what I mean? But it's just kind of like debilitating. What I learned was, like, if people know your weakness, and that's always in my culture, I always saw it as a weakness to have depression or any kind of mental problems at all, then it's just like you just keep it to yourself. I have my days where I'm okay, you know what I mean? But the more responsibility that I have, you know, and I know that I want this. You know, like, I want this responsibility. I want to be a positive force on the planet. But it's hard, you know, because I can't just get up and do stuff and go somewhere. You know, like, it takes more. So I have to just suck it up sometimes, you know what I mean? And it's not that easy. You know, sometimes I just can't do stuff. And I have to be honest about it. It's like I used to lie and say I'm sick or I'm whatever. And now I'm just like, dude, I'm going through it. You know what I mean? And either you got to deal with it or you believe me or you think I'm lying, but I'm going through it. It ain't got nothing to do with you, you know. So now I'm just honest about it, and I just try to live with what I'm dealing with, because I think that if I can ultimately be successful with this and dealing with my life, you know, maybe somebody see that and I'll be an example to them. Like, maybe it's not a good idea to, you know, just end it, because it's a whole bunch of stuff I wouldn't have did with my life if I had successfully committed suicide. You know what I mean? Like, and people was telling me, like, I've attempted 2 times, and like nobody was there. You know what I mean? So I should be technically going. You know what I mean? And people was like, God doesn't want you to leave. You know, whether you believe in God or not, you got to say that something is going on with that. You know what I mean? So even if at the least, I could tell my story about it. You know, like I remember being 18 and like telling my mom, like, I think I need to see somebody because I was just so depressed. And she was just like, well, you need to read the Bible and pray about it and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, that's not working. I'm reading the Bible and praying about it as we speak. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, so it was hard for my family to just like accept the fact that I really actually needed help for this. Like, you need help to deal with this. And it's not that I need to go and talk to somebody and have them say, oh, that's sad. But it's really about redirecting the way that I think or have been taught to think, you know. That's what a real therapist is supposed to do, is just like, I always see things this way, and then it's like, well, what if you looked at it this way? It's like, oh, I never even thought about that. Right. And if you come from a family where everybody shares the same perspective, they can't see outside of that. So I realized, like, I'm a little different. I've always been a little different. And that's cool, but it's like, how are you going to tell me, if we both came up in the same situation, how can you tell me? Like, oh, no, you could do it like this if you don't even have that perspective. You never even saw it like that. Death is a big trigger. I went to a lot of funerals growing up, so death. And I mean, I don't even really know a lot sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I can see something in a movie, or like me and my brother would be talking about, you know, when I was a kid or something, and then it's like, for weeks, it's like I'm in the butterfly effect, where I'm just like seeing the same thing over and over, and I don't know how to stop it's like a movie, you know what I mean? And I just have to wait until it's less. You know what I mean? Like, I try to block it out, or like I really get into production or something like that to try to block it out, but that doesn't really do anything but just like, it just takes my mind off of it for a while. But it's still kind of just there. I just have to wait until it's over. Right. I don't even know how to stop it, like, seriously. I envy people who could just get up every day, go to work, talk to people. You know what I mean? Like, just be normal, and you don't, use any types of drugs or drink anything, and you don't need any mental help at all. Like, I envy people like that, because I don't know what that feels like at all. Like, I don't think I've ever felt like that. Right. You know, even when I was a kid, like, I never felt like that. I would just try to deal with stuff, and I didn't really get it, that I was dealing with something. I just thought, well, this is what you do. You know, you drink till you black out, and you call somebody, hey, you're not doing it. Like, I need something to fill this time up, and to just get away for a little while. And that was my escape, I guess. A few years ago, I just kind of realized, like, I was really hiding. I was afraid of people seeing me. You know what I mean? It wasn't about, people think that it's about me not thinking I'm attractive. You know what I mean? I know I'm attractive. Too many, look. I'm not worried about that. That's completely superficial. But it's more so just like people taking advantage of me. You know what I mean? Like, you see that I'm a nice person, you know what I mean? And even just that I'm a good friend, and I can lend you an ear. People will waste your life with you lending them an ear. So I always felt like if I hid, maybe people couldn't see that I was sweet, or I used to hide my eyes a lot, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want people eyes are the window to the soul, so I didn't want you to see that, I'm not an evil person, but that's only good to good people. You know what I mean? Like when an evil person sees that you're not evil, they're like, oh, you're a mark.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I grew up around predators, so I had to hide that, you know, that I was compassionate and,
Yeah.
you know, a nice person. You know, I still hide it sometimes from certain people.
Yeah.
But to some people, I'm just not nice. So we just emotionally damaged people. You know, we just walk around and we act like everything's okay, regardless of what's happening in our lives, and we just try to find a way to stay motivated. And sometimes it's not positive. Sometimes it's drugs, sometimes it's money, sex, whatever, violence, whatever. But it's the better way to do it would be to actually communicate it and try to, you know, find people who have that common bond with you. Because I think that that community is what kind of really changed me, like having my fiance that understood, like, okay, I have this depression and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean that this is the time to take advantage of you or let me put you down about this. Like, just having people that cultivate the positive things inside of you, you know what I mean, and not having that negative, or you're like this and that means that you're garbage, you know what I mean?
Right.
So in our culture, to say that if it's something wrong, like just being completely exclusive about that, we love that. You know, I'm better than you because I have this or I have that. So the mental issue is the same type of thing. Like if it's something wrong with you, you need a pill, you need a check. These are things that we say in our culture that's completely negative and narcissistic, and you know what I mean, like we all have issues. It's just the way it is it's the human being experience. Like that's the way it is, and to put somebody down for their issues because you don't understand it is just the definition of ignorance, you know what I mean? So that's what we thrive off of, which is sad, but
Right.
it makes us feel good, you know what I mean? There's something wrong with you, I'm gonna point it out, you know what I mean? So everybody doesn't know what's really wrong with me, you know what I mean? I just feel encouraged to just, like, I used to always say that I wanted to inspire, like, somebody, and that's been happening consistently since I started making music, and I think the person that I inspired the most was myself, because I realized, like, I can actually be a part of changing something. You know, people talk about changing the game, but it's usually something stupid. You know what I mean? But I really just want people who have this outsider, or all of the greatest artists are the outsiders. Michael Jackson, Jimi Hendrix, Prince, well, whoever you say. And to be a positive force for people who are like maybe trans or whatever, and you go to a studio or whatever, and they don't want to deal with you because they have this, you got to be reality. You got to, you know, that's a part of who I am. My platform is for the people who are considered oddballs, but are really the people who created all, like Miles Davis was an oddball. Everybody was an oddball, but they created movements with their music. You know what I mean? And why not be that platform where these artists can feel safe? Get a close network, whether it's your family or friends or just people you know going through the same type of thing. Because the last thing you need is judgment. And just learn how to encourage yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like in really hard times, like don't focus on negative things. Learn how to encourage yourself. If you're feeling down, don't go into a situation where you know it's gonna be worse. Like try to do something to uplift other people and yourself. You know what I mean? Like, cause the world, like Facebook or Twitter or whatever, that can just drive you crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just learn how to be self-motivated and don't be afraid, you know, to fulfill your dreams or go after whatever somebody says, well, you stupid, that's not going, that'll never work. Just be like, okay, you know, and let them think it'll never work. And you do what you do, you know, but stay encouraged. You know, it's very important to seek help, you know. therapists are sometimes weird, and you just gotta go through them until you find somebody that can give you that advice, or that helps you click something in your brain. I've had several, you know what I mean? Because I'm gonna keep going through it until I find the right one. And I know people have their thing about medication, but for me it was either I get on medication or I'm just gonna get drunk and do stupid stuff. So it's like, for me it wasn't as much of a choice, because my anxiety was the reason why I drank. So I had to do something. But if you don't have to get medicated, that would be beautiful. We get the help that you need. You know what I mean? Like, don't be ashamed.
Right.
Say something,
Right. Right.